Okay. So what your perpetual homework till next Thursday or Friday is, I think we see each other on Thursdays, right? Okay, is to work on this outline, to get ready for this essay. Because when you sit for this essay, I've already done all the outside information with y'all. We've dissected it, we've categorized it, we've put it in bagpipe categories. Then we even figured out, like, how do I make this complex with argumentation, right? What your homework is going to be is to get yourself ready for it. So what I want you to do is to look at there's probably two categories that probably stick out to you, right? From your chart. So let's just say, does someone want to give me a category for this one?
Beliefs and politics.
Okay. So what was their similarity?
The self-governing.
Although that the Chesapeake and New England were self-governing, their what? Their beliefs is going to shape their political structure. Have I created a topic sentence? Okay, so then I set this with someone came in during tribe, and I set this to them. You have to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So if I want to say that they're both self-governing, right? Do I have to show how they self-govern in New England, and then also how they self-govern in the Chesapeake in my first point? Okay, then if I wanted to say something else about their government, what would be another thing? Let's just say you want to say that the government both had churches, right? Could you talk about how one church went one way and one church went the other way? But you have to compare them together because this is a comparison. Okay? So you should be able to go out and jot, like this person, she was like, I wanted to get 2 outlines. She's like, I'm going to bullet all my information and then start to write. And I was like, that's fine. You write it on your own piece of paper. But do you understand how this is going to give you a game plan of where you're going to go? But don't tell me the Chesapeake was self-governing and the Puritan area was Congregationalist church. Can I compare those two things? No. They need to be like, I'm going to compare Michael Jordan to another athlete of its time, David Robinson, right? And then if I were to compare, that's a long time ago for y'all. If I were to compare LeBron James today, who would I compare him to? Steve Curry. Okay, could I cross sports and compare him to Usain Bolt? Would that be a good comparison? No. Okay. If I'm going to compare football players, I compare football players together, right? If I'm going to compare basketball players, I compare basketball players together. That should be the same thing here. It is a comparison. So if you're comparing governments, compare the Chesapeake and New England. If you're comparing their churches, compare their churches. Okay? Y'all get what you're doing. Okay? So you're going to prepare this way, but I also want to look at our rubric. What AP says of how you get points. Can you give me a second? Let me get through this because I'm recording. Okay, I'm going to give you this, and this is, I want you to realize, because everybody's like, how many paragraphs and how many points? It's not about points and paragraphs. The points that will be is not like every paragraph you get a point for. AP says there's certain ways to get points. The first one is the thesis. To earn this point, you must make a claim that responds to the prompt rather than merely rephrasing and restating the prompt. So remember how I said they were different because of political and economics? Would you get a point for that? No. I said their economies were different because of their geography. Their politics were different because of their inherent beliefs. Is that now making a claim? When I say their beliefs shape their politics and their geography shape their economy, is that making a claim now? Yes. So then I would get a point because I've established the line of reasoning. The next thing says to get contextualization. You need to tell me about the processes that occur before, during, or after. Do we even know what happened after this? Not right now. We're not there yet. But could you explain what has happened before that has caused what has gone on in this prompt? You would have to go where? Back to what? What country? England. And explain why those men were leaving. Why those Puritans were leaving. And if you did that, you would get a point here. The next one, provide specific evidence. If you were just to list the Chesapeake had cash crops such as tobacco, because people like John Roth developed it, and this is why they had plantations, are you just giving specific examples? This one says argument. If you would explain how the geography was fertile, right? And they had a vast amount of rivers, which allowed for them to be able to crop. What crop? Tobacco, which allowed for, it was very easy, right? And they're going to bring in labor systems. Are you now explaining the geography and how it leads to this economy very highly dependent on tobacco production? That creates an argument. If you're doing a comparison, I'm going to compare their governments. Remember I was telling you, government to government, church to church. Okay, that will get you that point for comparison. Last thing is to give a complex one, where you're explaining both the similarity and difference. Did we kind of set that up? Did we kind of set that up in this chart that we had right here? Did I kind of set this up in this chart? Explain both the similarity and the difference. What was our similarity for the geography and economy? Trade. What did I say was the similarity for the beliefs and politics? Even though that they were self-governing, they developed differences based on their beliefs. Now do I have an argumentation and I've addressed the similarity and the difference? Yes. Do you see how this chart will help you develop your paragraphs? And this is where you could just list stuff and go on the lower level. But you have to have that developed argumentation to get any of these higher level points. Is there questions on the points? Because I keep on saying how many paragraphs do I have, how many sentences I have to have. This is not an EOC writing where it's one page. Okay? If you're writing one page, have you provided an argument? Have you done similarities and differences and comparison? What was your question?
I'm just going to ask if this was going to be on Google Classroom.
It's I will put it, I just need to scan it. But I actually have copies for y'all. Is that going to make it better?